WallStreetBets is the massively popular subreddit where so-called degenerates gather to make wild bets on the stock market and usually lose all their money. But the page has captivated the imagination of millions, 13.6 million to be exact. It was propelled to fame when users of the subreddit banded together to trigger a short squeeze by buying millions of dollars worth of GameStop stock. They sent the stock to the moon, creating many new millionaires overnight. People like YouTuber Roaring Kitty, who profited over $40 million.
Surprise! GameStop's up about 5x from when I uploaded those videos over the summers.
A similar thing happened with AMC stock, and this created a whole new category of apparently unsophisticated retail investing known as meme stocks. But WallStreetBets is no longer run by its original founder, Jamie Rogozinski, who set up the page in 2012. Reddit removed Rogozinski from his moderator position in 2020, and after a 3-year battle in private to get his page back, Rogozinski has broken his silence and filed a lawsuit against Reddit. So let's delve into this case and give you the full story of the battle over a brand that could be worth millions. You're watching Dirty Money. On February 15th, 2023, a complaint was filed in U.S. District Court in the Northern District of California.
Jamie Rogozinski is suing Reddit for removing him as moderator from the subreddit room he created, violating his rights to trademark the WallStreetBets name.
The case explains that Rogozinski started the subreddit in 2012 in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis and spent 8 years working to develop the brand and online community. In 2020, Rogozinski released a book called WallStreetBets, which he advertised in the sidebar on the subreddit. Below the book ad was another ad for merchandise. Then Rogozinski announced a live stock trading competition that was to be held later that year. So far, none of these actions attracted the attention of Reddit. But then in late March 2020, Rogozinski filed a trademark application for the name WallStreetBets with the US Patent and Trademarks Office. And just 2 weeks later, on April 7th, Rogozinski received a message from Reddit saying his account was being suspended for 7 days for, quote, attempting to monetize a community. According to the case, after 7 days, Rogozinski was not reinstated like Reddit said he would be, and he remains cut off from the page that he started. Then on May 11th, 2020, Reddit started filing the first of 4 trademark applications for the WallStreetBets name. Rogozinski says he tried to negotiate directly with Reddit, but his efforts proved fruitless, and the last resort is now legal action.
I have been silent about this for 3 years, hoping to find an amicable, mutually beneficial solution to this problem. And I think that Reddit is surprised that I finally decided to fight back instead of sitting back with my arms crossed.
Okay.
Rogozinski says that others on Reddit have been able to monetize their subreddits by selling merchandise and advertising other products. And this goes for the moderators on his subreddit.
Why were the moderators on WallStreetBets allowed to continue monetizing by selling t-shirts before, during, and after I was kicked out?
And other companies that use Reddit to create brand awareness. His case cites Fidelity Investments and Red Bull energy drinks as 2 examples. But he isn't the only one who has had his brand stolen by Reddit.
Yoink! When I started doing research for this thing, I found that Reddit has trademarked all sorts of other subreddit names, and other people have actually raised opposition to this thing. So
now Reddit has hit back, calling the case frivolous and saying that the majority of WallStreetBets growth happened after Rogozinski was kicked off the platform. This is true. When he was kicked off in 2020, the subreddit had just 1 million followers, but 1 million followers on a social media site is no small feat, and it's logical to assume that it would have grown to 13.6 million anyway if Rogozinski was still a moderator. So does he have a case? Well, in Reddit's terms and conditions, it says nothing about monetizing a community through linking to ads being a forbidden activity on the site. There are, however, 2 points in the section on moderators that Reddit will probably use to justify its actions. One point is about not entering into agreements with third parties on behalf of a subreddit you moderate, and the other says you can't perform moderation actions in exchange for compensation. This really puts things into a gray area. Rogozinski says he set up a separate company of his own to run his stock trading competition, and that he had entered into agreements between his own company and several third parties, such as sponsors and the venue. He didn't enter into agreements on behalf of Reddit. So although it used the name of the subreddit, he felt that technically it wasn't breaking the rules. Remember, he'd already trademarked the name himself and set up a company to handle the competition. Reddit will probably hit back by asking to see the contracts and see if there was any provision to post on the WallStreetBets subreddit promoting that competition, and they may feel that that counts as entering into an agreement with a third party on behalf of a subreddit. Then there's the issue of ads for his book and merch. This is also a gray area since he wasn't directly being compensated at an hourly rate for moderating posts. So does that actually break the rules as being compensated for moderation activities? It's very ambiguous. As for who should own the copyright of the name of a subreddit, it seems Reddit users do sign away certain rights, but they still retain ownership. You retain any ownership rights you have in your content, but you grant Reddit the following license to use the content. Then there's a big paragraph saying how Reddit is free to show your content from their site in any form of media that exists now or in the future. I don't think that gives Reddit the right to trademark the name of your page that you came up with yourself. Just a right to use your trademark when showing your page on their site or in any other media they choose. It's kind of like they get licensing rights from you for free. Then there's another aspect to this too. Reddit is protected from liability for the content on its platform by Section 230, a US law that protects platforms from being sued for user-generated content that they host on the internet. This is in contrast to being a publisher who would be held liable. However, Reddit is now behaving more like a publisher. Trademarking the name of WallStreetBets indicates their intention to regard it as their own brand. There is currently a Section 230 case moving to the Supreme Court that could narrow the definition of Section 230, opening up all social media sites to potential lawsuits. Reddit is wholeheartedly lobbying to keep its Section 230 protections. But in conclusion, and as a social media creator myself, I want to say this. No matter whether the terms and conditions do or do not give them the right to do what they have done, Reddit's attempt to steal a brand created by one of their users is extremely mean-spirited and hypocritical, especially when Reddit itself is looking to monetize its brand and thus the WallStreetBets brand that it owns trademarks for in an IPO later this year that could be worth between $10 and $15 billion. So Reddit is allowed to monetize on its platform, but ordinary users aren't. And look, they're monetizing WallStreetBets already with promoted posts like this one for this stupid owl puzzle that nobody ever asked for. If social media platforms could just steal the brands that their users create and work hard to develop, then no one would use social media sites. All the people with good ideas would just create their own websites and social media would die. I think Rogozinski sums it up well.
Social media companies rely on content creators that want to come to their site with good ideas and actually create the content. They should have kept our interests aligned in a mutually beneficial manner, in a symbiotic relationship, the way that it's always been, the way that every social media company seems to get it.
While other companies like Twitter and YouTube, for example, are increasing monetization opportunities for creators, Reddit is going the other way, stealing from the very people who made it successful. Rogozinski's lawsuit represents a greater battle for the rights of intellectual property ownership for internet users everywhere. So what do you think? Is Reddit justified, or is it dirty money? Please comment below and subscribe for 2 new financial documentaries every week, every Monday and Thursday. We'll see you in the next one.